Welcome to the Phastkrimp difference. This video will help familiarize you with one of the most durable, easy-to-use crimping machines available anywhere. A machine that delivers a precise, tough-gripping metal-to-metal crimp every time. No matter which Phastkrimp machine you have, they all have several characteristics in common. First, you don't have to skive the hose, that is, remove its rubber cover, to install a Phastkrimp fitting. That's because the metal teeth of the fitting penetrate the hose cover, gripping directly on the hose reinforcement. However, you do need to make sure that you're using only the products found in Parker product catalogs when you use a Phastkrimp machine. The fittings, for example, are of one-piece construction and specially designed for Parker no-skive hose. Another great feature is the Phastkrimp dies. They're unitized, so there's no loose dies to mismatch or install incorrectly. And that makes them easier to handle when you pick them up in a circle. Our dies also have a unique design feature called the Park-Align system. This automatically ensures the proper positioning of the fitting in the dies for a uniform crimp time after time. And finally, you'll see the dies are color-coded according to hose size to avoid confusion and save time during setup. On your crimper, you'll find a decal. Although your decal may look slightly different, they all show which die color corresponds to which hose size. The same decal also indicates which fitting series and die ring or spacer plate to use. The die ring or spacer plate, by the way, goes between the pusher and die set and determines the length of the downstroke and subsequently the crimp diameter. The same decal also shows you proper crimp diameters. You'll also find information about stainless steel fittings. Besides the decal on the machine, you'll find all the information you'll need in the 4400 catalog, as well as the technical manuals included with this machine. For example, that's where you'll find installation information and electrical requirements. When it comes to operating and maintaining your Phastkrimp machine, here are 8 simple tips. Number 1. Only use the hose, fitting products, and product combinations shown in Parker catalogs. 2. Keep your dies and die bowl clean. 3. To prevent wear of the die cavity in the base plate, frequently coat it lightly with high-pressure grease. 4. Always cut hose the safe way. Wear safety glasses. Use the adjustable pins on the saw to bend the hose and reduce friction. Make sure the blade is sharp. And don't push the saw handle too hard. Let the blade do the work. This ensures a 90-degree cut. 5. Before you crimp, it's important to bottom the hose in the fitting. The preferred method is to use Parker's hose insertion depth gauge. Or you can use the hose insertion depth chart listed in Catalog 4400, Section C. If necessary, lightly lubricate the end of the hose and push the hose into the fitting until the end of the shell is even with the mark on the hose. Use of the TH2-7 push-on fitting stand is the recommended method. Tip number 6. Always operate your Phastkrimp machine with its protective cover in place. 7. Always wear safety glasses when you cut and handle hose and operate crimping equipment. And 8. Become familiar with the safety guide in the Parker 4400 hose and fitting catalog. If you need a copy of the safety guide, call 1-800-C-PARKER and request a copy of Bulletin Number 4400-B1. In the next section, you'll learn more about your specific Phastkrimp machine. And if you notice something a little different, it's because we've specially painted our crimper to help in the demonstration. The crimping machine you're about to see in action is called the Phastkrimp. The Phastkrimp is capable of handling a variety of hoses, including textile, 1- and 2-wire braid, 4-spiral SAE 100R9 and SAE 100R12 hose, and SAE 100R4 suction return hose. It will crimp 26, 43, 70, and 71 series fittings through -20 or 1 1/4 inch. In addition, the Phastkrimp will crimp the hose fitting combinations you see listed here through -16 or 1 inch. In addition to this video, you'll find specification information listed in your 4400 hose and fittings catalog, as well as on the decal on the side of your machine. And for information on the Phastcrimp's easy setup and operation, refer to the Technical Manual Bulletin 4480 T16 USA included with your crimper. First, choose the type and size of hose you require for your application. Then select the proper series, size, and configuration of the fittings required for each end of the hose. Next, to determine the proper length of the hose, you first need to know the cutoff allowance of your fittings. There are two ways you can do this. One is what you see here, to measure the B dimension of each fitting. The other way is to refer to the 4400 hose and fittings catalog using the part number on the shell for identification. Then subtract your cutoff allowances from the desired overall length of your assembly. Let's say, for example, your overall assembly length should be 64 inches. You found that one fittings cutoff allowance is 1 inch. The other one's allowance is 1.5 inches. So you subtract the total 2.5 inches from the overall 64 inches and see that you must cut your hose to be 61.5 inches in length. The next step is to make sure you bottom the hose in the fitting. And as you remember, that means marking the hose, using a little oil if needed to make the fitting go on easier, and pushing the hose fitting all the way up to the mark. Next, refer to the machine decal to select the right dies. Since this job calls for 3/4 inch hose, the green dies are the right ones to use. While you're there, also check the die ring information. The decal will note whether to use the silver or black die ring for your hose assembly. First, pull the pin on the pusher for easy access to the die bowl. Then drop the dies in the Phastcrimp's die bowl in a way that leaves the gap in front. That makes it easier to remove a bent stem fitting. Then place the die ring on the dies. Both sides are the same, so it doesn't matter which side is up. Position the pusher and replace the pin. Now insert the hose assembly from the bottom. Adjust it so the bottom of the fitting shell rides on the park-aligned step in the dies. Start the machine. Holding the hose lightly, position the valve to activate the pump. Wait until the die ring is bottomed on the base. Then reverse the valve on the pump and remove the assembly. It's a good idea to check the crimp diameter for each type and size of crimp. You'll find the diameters on the decal and in the catalogs. And finally, remove any particles in the hose with compressed air and cap if necessary to avoid contamination. And that covers the basics of your Phastkrimp machine. If you need more information, please refer to your technical manual. Thanks for watching and enjoy working with the Phastkrimp difference.